Tommy Boyds.
I have this from one of our senior environmental lobbies. Cereal buyers are getting a lot less than they bargained for. The survey, which is out today, reports that consumers, this is us, are regularly buying packets containing up to 60% fresh air and only 40% cereal. The environmental pressure group behind this have slammed supermarkets and manufacturers, like they always do, as cereal tree killers for wasting thousands of tons of paper on useless packaging. So this is what they're saying now, that trees have to die so that you can have a nice square box of cornflakes in your pantry. And they are certain when they send us pieces of paper like this, that we, being good corners, good disciples in the media, will respond as we're supposed to. And naturally, complain about the supermarket's behaviour, complain about the cereal manufacturer's behaviour, and complain about consumers who don't stand up for their rights. But we are not like that on this show between 2 and 4, Monday to Friday, on Talk Radio. If you want to buy a packet of cornflakes that contains 50% air because you like the box, and you do like the box because that's why you buy it, then good luck to you. There are plenty of other things that are far worse, far more worthwhile worrying about than the size and shape of our cornflakes packets. Packaging is fantastic. Few things represent the glories of the 21st century better than the packaging on the stuff that we buy to eat. The stuff that we buy to decorate our lives is packaged, well packaged, packaged for its safety, packaged for its hygiene, packaged for its security, packaged for our pleasure, for your... This is what they're having a go at. You buying a nice yellow box of something that's hygienic because nobody can get at it because it's in a sealed box, and then it's in a sealed bag inside the sealed box, and it looks good. Packaging is fantastic. Millions of pounds worth of research has gone into making sure that packaging is fantastic. The colours of it are right. The look of the box or the packet or the wrapping is right. Free call 0500 10 53 89. When you buy something that's well packaged, you feel as though you've been doing yourself a favour. You feel as though you've invested well. Great big packet of cornflakes or whatever it is that you bought that's well packaged, smartly packaged, with neat boxed corners and a nice sheen across it and good colours and a good finish, just makes you feel a little bit better about this thing called life. So environmental pressure groups, please leave us alone on this one. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Good packaged food from the supermarket makes your pantry look good. It makes you look bounteous. It makes you realise that you can feed your children every morning. And if friends come round to stay for the night and you can put out breakfast in the morning, you put all your packets of cereal out on the kitchen table, don't you? And a bowl of, and a jug of milk and loads of bowls, and you say, help yourselves. And it feels good. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Good packaging is cool. Good packaging is hip. Good packaging is the future. You can often judge a product by the amount of packaging there is wrapped round it. My favourite chewing gum, fantastic stuff, chewing gum. My favourite chewing gum, for example, comes wrapped, as each stick, first of all, in foam, foil, which has got a nice buff interior in foil. Then it comes inside a sleeve of paper, and then 5 of those sleeves of paper-wrapped foil are contained inside another foil wrapper. Fantastic. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Good packaging encourages good reading habits in the young. Don't have to expand on that, do I? Children will learn to read what they want to read, and they want to read what's on the packet, either because they have to or because it's fun to read, because there's a free offer, or what? Free call 0500 10 53 89. If you didn't have big boxes of cornflakes, then you couldn't have all those special offers on them. And it looks good. It's made to look good. So when you see a wrapper underneath a hedgerow, you ought to say, who put that hedgerow there, not who dropped that piece of litter. The fact of the matter is, your judgment has been contaminated by the media. Free call 0500 10 53 89. On behalf of the media, I'd like to say sorry. On behalf of everybody, I'd like to say to the environmental pressure groups, no thanks. Packaging is fantastic, isn't it? I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Talk to Tommy Boyd. Free call 0500 1053 89.
The fact that the air in the box is probably better for you than the food stuff is neither here nor there, unless you want to pick that one up and run with it. Has any man ever said to any woman, can you open that for me? No. It's true. You can. The 4 or 5 seconds it takes you to undo a childproof jar of aspirins, it's neither here nor there. Headaches last for days, don't they? Well, recycling doesn't work, Matthew. Everybody now knows this, except John Craven's news round. Recycling doesn't work. No. The energy used up recycling things is more than the energy saved by the recycling. So it's not worth it. No. Products, as you quite rightly point out, are second rate.
Yeah. No, that's why we don't really need, like, a cornflake packet.
No, but you do, you see.
Yeah.
You do, because it doesn't add anything to the cost of the product whatsoever, but it makes you feel better about yourself because you bought something glorious looking.
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
Colour affects our lives.
That's
Images
true.
affect our lives. And I think that people don't feel so good about themselves when they buy own brand products. I'm sorry, but they don't. All right. They take us all right, don't they?
Yeah, but
the packaging of own brand goods... That must be deliberately gross. It almost makes them look third world, doesn't it? Pat calls from Harrogate. Pat, you're on Talk Radio.
Yes, good afternoon. I'd just like to make a point about the packages of cereals, etc.
Yeah.
It's not just the recycling of everything, but it takes twice the amount of transport. If you've got a packet filled with 50% of cornflakes, then there's 50% of that lorry running up and down the motorways or wherever they're running to, half empty. So it's not just the fuel, but it's the actual cost of transporting as well.
But it's a small price to pay for all that pleasure, isn't it, Pat?
No, it isn't.
Don't you think so?
No, it isn't. I'm a bit of a miser, I'm afraid, and I think it's a sheer, utter waste. Absolutely, a sheer, utter waste.
But you're wearing clothes at the moment.
Well, yes.
Okay, and you're wearing nice clothes.
Not particularly. I mean, I'm dressed in an old T-shirt and an old pair of, what do you call it, trousers, trews, whatever you call them.
Gorgeous. But the point is this, are they skin tight?
Well, they're the legging type things. What's that got to do with the cornflakes?
There's air in them.
Pardon?
There's air in your packaging.
What's there in my packaging?
There is air in your packaging.
Very little of it, I should think.
That's not
you're
the
getting
point.
the wrong point completely.
I'm not.
No, the point is that you're getting off the wrong... you really are. I mean, if there's 50% packaging, cornflakes in a package or whatever it happens to be, and that 50% of cornflakes is travelling up and down the motorway in 50% of air in that package, then the lorries and everything else that transport is taking, plus the cost of it, the cost of transport is enormous. Then the cost of that packaging, the cost of the cornflakes and the cereals could come down an awful lot.
All right, first of all, the point I was trying to make is simply this. It's impossible to fill anything up absolutely full, isn't it? I mean...
Well, nobody's arguing about that. I saw something on the television this morning about that I think it was, I don't know if I'm allowed to, well, one of the brands, that there was about 85% packaging. Okay, there is a bit of... whatever you call it, settlement. But if one company can do that, then they all can do it. And the point is that we are paying for that 50% of air by the cost of transport.
Yeah,
not
but
to
then
mention the packaging.
You don't have to.
What do you mean you don't have? You're eating cereals, you do.
Well, why do you have cereal? I haven't eaten a bowl of cereal for 20 years.
Well, that's up to you, but I prefer cereals in the morning to what I do bacon and eggs or anything else.
Well, why not have nothing? I don't eat any breakfast, and look at me.
Oh, gosh, you are...
What?
I can't look at you. How can I look at you?
Well, you know what I'm saying here.
I mean, everybody has... Well, not everybody has breakfast, but if you prefer the breakfast and you prefer the cereals, okay, you buy those things. And I obviously buy the one which is 85% packaging, which is Morrison's.
Yes. If you filled those packets of cornflakes right up to the top, which, of course, you can't do... Because the actual container of the breakfast products is a paper bag, isn't it?
I've already agreed with you on that one.
They're going to cost more.
Don't be so silly. Of course they're not.
They will.
There's 500 grams if you're talking about it. 500 grams is 500 grams, whether it fills the package or it doesn't fill the package.
Absolutely.
So I mean, if you've got a package which is half full,
yes,
then it's taking it. And I don't know how many packages it takes to fill a lorry load of whatever the cart up and down the motorway, but that's half the lorry load going out, and you're paying that driver, plus the cost of the transport, plus the cost of the fuel.
This is such a microscopic criticism of the whole business,
I certainly don't think it is.
Here we are talking about the future of rainforests and the philosophy of happiness and contentment, Pat, and you want to go about the cost of transporting air.
The contentment is me not being fleeced out of my money by all these people that, you know...
Do you drive a car?
Yes.
Is it always full of people? Because you're a real old pot in a kettle,
no,
you are.
No, just a minute.
Yeah.
I can't get around quite well without a car.
Oh, everyone says that.
Pardon?
Everyone says that.
Well, no, I can't get around quite well without a car. Now then, okay, there's probably only me that drives it, but I haven't ridden that car, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, I said. I haven't driven that car since before Christmas. It's been stood in my driveway.
But when you do drive a car...
Just 1 minute.
You can get a football team in the back.
Before I was not able to get around quite easily, I rode my bicycle.
Yes.
Now then, I cannot get on my bicycle and ride it now, otherwise I would.
Did you give anybody a crossbar?
No, because I don't crossbar on the bike.
Well, you can get them on the handlebars, Mount Harrogate, I've seen it. You see what I'm saying, Pat?
No, I don't see what you're saying, because you're not thinking logically. You've got to think logically.
Problem.
If you want to run a radio show, you've got to think logically.
The trouble is, Pat, I am thinking logically. What I'm doing is I'm pushing back your argument at you to see whether you pass the test that you're applying to manufacturers, and you don't.
Why not?
Well, I think I've made that perfectly clear, because there's air in your clothes, and you don't fill your car every time you drive it.
Well, listen, there's air in my clothes, okay, there's a layer of air between me and my body, but it's me that's carrying that around. It's not costing me anything. If I go buy a jumper, it's not filled up with air. If I go buy a pair of leggings, it's not filled up with air. You know, 10 to 1 clothes come without packaging, 10 to 1.
Yes.
You know. They come without packaging. And what I'm on about is the transport of these packages, which is 50% air. And okay, so if the packaging was cut down, you're only getting 500 grams of cornflakes or whatever that happens to be in there, you know, you'd get twice as much in the damn lorry. That's obvious.
Pat, thank you for your call. But I'm not going to get worried about it. I think packaging is fantastic. And so do you, and so should you. So please don't make this something else that you find yourself worrying about. Worry less. It's 1998. Make that your New Year resolution. I'm going to worry less. I'm going to dismiss as irrelevant everything that the environmental pressure groups try to get me worrying about in 1998, which is new. Because I think they are running out of things to worry about. If they're really trying to get us to worry about the fact that there's air in packets of cereal, they say it spells doom for the rainforests. I really think that's stretching it a bit. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I've never met a man who couldn't open a bottle or a packet of anything. Now, tell you what I've noticed.
Yes, sir.
Cold beer from the can is the way to drink it, because why do people transfer a cold can of beer into a glass?
Well,
because the glass is probably warmer than the can.
Yeah.
And it warms the beer up.
That's where when you go abroad, they actually have glasses actually in the freezer.
I love that.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
But it's still not as good as putting that cold aluminium up against your upper lip.
Although I do feel you get
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Do you know what somebody should invent? Why isn't there? You know, toilet paper is serrated.
Yeah.
So that you pull off a piece.
Well, yes.
As long as you want to, and then there's a nice tear you make. Why don't they do that with sellotape?
To Tommy Boyds. Free call 0500 1053 89. 0500 1053 89.
Now, on a scientific point of view, the reason that we cannot withstand falling from a great height and landing as a species has to do with the way in which our organs are packaged inside our body cavity. If you look at anatomical drawings of human beings on the wall of the biology lab, you will see that the heart is there and the lungs are beside it and the kidneys are beneath them, and there's sort of space all around them. Well, it's not like that at all inside a human body. There is no cavity. It's all squeezed and squashed in there. And that's why if we hit the deck after falling a couple of thousand feet, we pretty much splash. Whereas animals which have got space around their internal organs, such as spiders, for example, who could survive a fall of any distance, a spider could fall off the Empire State Building and would walk away, well, happily, if it hit the bottom, because its internal organs are nicely spaced out and there's room for them. Free call 0500 10 53 89.
Ground control to Major Tom.
We've been expecting you, Mr. Boyd.
His is the worst voice you will ever hear. Nothing.
Morning. One of the continuous themes on this programme is the welfare of our children. And one of my two teams of people who work, one on child welfare, one on education, although obviously their work overlaps from time to time, came to me with a proposition about 2 weeks ago, I rubber-stamped it because I felt, as a parent and qualified teacher, that they were definitely barking up the right tree. I rubber-stamped it. They went away and they came back with an avalanche of powerful thoughts, views, and evidence. It could be that our children are suffering. Our children are suffering from something which we not only take for granted, but something which we all consider to be beneficial to them. It could be that this commodity is causing them as much danger as is the lure of alcohol, tobacco, and maybe even some drugs. It could be that this commodity is causing them emotional, mental, and physical harm, impairment. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I've just finished reading a biography of Harold Wilson. Until Margaret Thatcher came along, he was our most successful Prime Minister. He went without this commodity until he was 14 years of age. So far from it not doing him any harm, it may well have benefited him, and that's what I want to put before you this afternoon. I'll remind you of the telephone number in just a second. I wonder if you have any idea what I'm talking about. I'm talking about shoes. Shoes. Your children's shoes. Free call 0500 10 53 89. £180 for a pair of child's trainers? Forget drugs, alcohol and cigarettes. The biggest threat to our young could well be the shoes, which we feel we must have on their feet from morning until night, especially when they go to school, especially at weekends. Maybe we should send we should send our children to school barefoot, shoeless. I know a great many old people who went to school shoeless, and they say not so much it didn't do them any harm, that it actually did them a lot of good. Think about it. I know it's new, but that's the kind of currency we like on this program. If our children went barefoot to school, they would arguably be much more sensitive and intelligent. How so? Well, you only have to have the skimpiest knowledge of Chinese medicine to recognize that that great barefoot nation, the Chinese, set great store in the sensitivity of their feet. Our children would be a lot better behaved if they didn't wear shoes to school, because it's harder to misbehave if you're barefoot. You can't run around on the bus. You can't cause mayhem in the playground. You have to tread warily, and people who are treading warily, quite frankly, are better behaved. Certainly an awful lot more polite. It would save parents an awful lot of money. I mean, if you've got children, how much did you spend on shoes last year? 1997. Tot it up. I've totted it up. For each of my sons, I got through 2 pairs of shoes, 2 pairs of trainers, 1 pair of footy boots, and in the case of number 1 son, a set of rollerblades. Do you want to know how much that set me back for one boy? £470. And I've got 2 of them. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Our children don't need shoes. There's no argument whatsoever above and beyond convention, which forces all of us parents, us poor parents, into buying shoes and trainers and the rest of it for our children. We'd save an awful lot of money. Children would get closer to the planet. There's nothing more therapeutic than walking barefoot through the grass. But when was the last time you did it? Never mind about your children. Children don't want shoes. They hate going to buy shoes. They find the whole process tedious on a Saturday afternoon and traumatic, because they know that the first time they go to school in their new shoes, they will be the subject of ridicule in the playground. Now, don't ask me why, but we know that this is the case. Children list new shoes as one of the top 10 reasons why other children are bullied in schools. Unbelievable, but true. So think of the harm they do, and think of the good that would be done for parents, for children, and for the future of society if we considered sending our children to school without any shoes. Crime would plummet. Muggers wouldn't mug because they couldn't run away. Boot boys wouldn't boot anything or anybody because they wouldn't have any boots. You think through history of all the appalling regimes who are identified by their footwear, and all the wonderful thinkers who are identified because they went barefoot. Hitler, skinheads, Ned Kelly, Jesse James, Attila the Hun, Taras Bulba, Vinnie Jones, Mike Tyson, Vincent van Gogh, they all wore boots. Gandhi, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, Tom Sawyer, all the Zulus, Pele, Sandy Shaw, Joan of Arc, Hercules, Tchaikovsky, Alexander Graham Bell, Achilles, all were barefoot. Who would you rather be with? Who would you rather your children turned out like? Free call 0500 10 53 89. On a fact-finding visit to Kenya, the first thing I noticed is that A, Kenyan children run faster than British children, and B, they run, yes, barefoot. On a fact-finding sporting visit to Rio de Janeiro, the first thing I noticed is that Brazilian children play football, yes, barefoot, and a lot better than we do. Free call 0500 10 53 89. But maybe it shouldn't be just our children who should be blessed with this new idea. Perhaps we should all consider having a shoe-free week. Bare feet are healthy. Bare feet don't attract odour. Bare feet are free of fungal infections. Bare feet are sexier. People drive better in bare feet because they operate the pedals more sympathetically. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Let's send our children to school shoeless. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Bunions and so on.
Those poor little children, bunions, hard skin, calluses, athlete's foot.
Yeah, it's not poverty, you know, it's just health.
We didn't have verrucas, you know, before we had shoes.
Is that right?
I'm fairly certain of that.
Yeah, I've never suffered with them.
I've never met a grandparent who remembers having a verruca.
Yeah.
I think they're incubated in warm, damp socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's hear it for shoeless
Absolutely.
society.
Thank you, Clinton, very much indeed for your call. After all, when you're driving along in a car and the police pull you over, they check your tyres, they check your windscreen wipers, okay? They check your breath. But they never check the things that keep you in contact with the machine that you're driving, which is your shoes. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I wonder how many accidents are caused by people's feet slipping off the pedals. And I sometimes wonder whether the pedals in our cars, shouldn't have little clasps on them, much as racing cyclists have on their pedals. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Here's John. Well, you pay your money, you take your chance.
That's right.
There's always dangers in life. I mean, equally, I think we know, don't we, that you're more likely to die in Australia from putting your foot in your boot and it's got one of those funnel spiders in it than BSE.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And you also notice when you wear your bare feet, your toes start to spread apart a bit.
Yeah.
And when you go and then when we come back over in, you get a shoe. You can't get a shoe to fit your foot because your toes have spread out, because you used to working on the bare feet.
I think the reason that people in the West, particularly in Northern Europe, are fussier than anybody else on Earth, right, is because our toes are squashed and constricted in our shoes. Spread your feet, spread your mind. And then there's Kip Kano. He used to run barefoot, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
And Bruce Tullow, although you don't remember him.
I don't remember him now. I'm back in this country now.
I don't remember him either, but never mind. Mark, thank you for your call.
Thanks very much.
Bye now. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Daniel calls.
Yeah.
You very rarely see a naked animal, do you?
That's right,
Okay.
no.
But how many animals have fur or feathers or pelts on the soles of their feet?
None, I would
None.
imagine.
None.
Absolutely none.
None. So who are we?
Yeah, exactly. The funny thing was that...
I see what you're saying. They're built for mugging, aren't they, really, trainers?
But
And they can't be any good at all for the health of one's feet. The cost of them, I mean, how much was the last pair of trainers you bought?
I have trainers.
Sir, are a warrior, aren't you? Hey?
I can't think of anyone
A champion.
that I really know who would even be seen dead in them.
You are a champion of happier times. You really are.
Well, maybe they will return. I mean, maybe they ought to get all the chaps with these shoes and put them on from Ireland and let them all mug one another until there's one left and then shoot him, that type of thing.
If you read what you believe, the children imprisoned in the sweatshops of Asia who build a lot of these trainers for next to nothing would just chorus an enormous hurrah if you and I were able to persuade people in the West to go barefoot once again. Bye. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Now, of course, you see, that was a remark that wasn't true. Pity. He came in like a lion and went out like a lamb. That isn't true. People who go barefoot don't suffer from foot problems. They simply don't have to buy those talcum powders or those sprays. They simply don't. And you do, and I do. And I have heard of a professional sportsman who had to miss 2 games recently because he had such a bad case of athlete's foot. Okay. All he needed to do was go barefoot. Free call 0500 10 53 80. I'm not on the pitch, obviously. I'm not suggesting that yet. Christine calls from West Sussex. You're on Talk Radio, Christine. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir.
I've never heard such spunk in my life as sending children to school with no shoes on. They would come home or be sent in an ambulance to the hospital with tacks in their feet, glass in their feet, and crippled for life. And whoever advocates not wearing shoes, they must be an idiot. I've never heard such rubbish in my life, and whoever advocates that must have a very narrow mind or be doing business on massaging other people's feet.
Yes. Ha. Now listen here, you old bigot. Hey, honestly, are the streets of Nottingham that...
When you're walking on the pavement,
what do you pay your community tax for? They're broken glass everywhere, then?
Oh, yes. Today, with the modern society, people throw bottles all over the place.
Don't they? All these young whippersnappers.
When they're coming out the pub or when they have an argument or dispute...
That's it. They got no discipline.
And doing all sorts of strange things.
There, you can't trust them, their younger generation. And you know the reason why, Edward, they're so badly behaved? Kiddywinks.
Because, in my opinion...
Because they wear shoes.
The collapse of discipline and society and good manners. And you don't hear excuse me or thank you or please nowadays like you used to do. Very, very rarely.
Well, I'm glad about that.
And if you do hear it,
it just gets in the way.
Credit the person.
It gets in the way of good conversation, Edward.
Does it?
Yes, it does. It slows things down. What good is please? What good is please? What good does please do?
What good does please do? It gives the person who's giving something the thanks for what they've given.
Totally false.
And no. It didn't used to be.
It's a sham.
We used to help old ladies on the bus and with the bags and all the rest. Nowadays, they'd snatch the purse and run off.
Yes, you see, I'm afraid you live in a bad place, Edward. I would advise you to move.
I look after my own life in
your
a nice,
family,
quiet way.
the young people that you associate with, you've brought them up very badly. Now, hark at the noise that is in your play. Are you calling from home or a home?
No, I'm calling from someone else's home.
Yes.
And I'll stick
what are the nurses like?
I stick to my opinion. I don't want to mix with what I call modern generation yobbers and...
Terrible people, aren't they?
I won't say the other word, but using the pub too much.
Hark at his probation officer. She's worse than he is. Did you wear shoes when you were a little boy, Edward? What's she on about your underwear?
I think
did you wear shoes wear shoes when you were a little boy?
I have the courtesy to listen to you and listen to me.
Did you wear shoes when you were a little boy?
When I was a little boy, I wore shoes from as long as I can remember.
Well, you see, that's the problem, isn't it? That's the problem. Without shoes, Edward would not have such a closed mind. He would not be such an anal retentive, as the psychologist who we had on earlier suggested. Free call 0500 1053 89. Are you still there, Edward?
Yes.
Pity.
You're a very facetious and narrow-minded moron.
Good. Thank you so much indeed. Yeah. That's the nicest thing that you could possibly think of to say to me.
Impression of your conversation.
Marvellous, Edward. Oh, Eddie, slam the phone down. Not very well, though. We've said it before and we'll say it again. In order to slam the phone down correctly, you must just miss the receptacle for the earpiece of the phone when you initially hit the phone with the earpiece, thus making a banging noise before you then nestle the phone back into its place. Otherwise, all you hear is just a slight click, and it doesn't have the same impact. I'll get the next caller to slam the phone down properly. I think you'll find that 97% of the shoe industry is concerned with adult footwear. The children's shoe industry is in fact a very small part
that percentage figure, Tommy, sounds to me like it's off the top of your head. I don't think there's any facts
No,
whatsoever.
I've got it in front of me. I've got it here from the British...
Can you just rustle a few papers so all the listeners can actually...
We believe
you now. We believe that figure is factual.
Yes, from the British Shoe Menders Association.
Of which I'm a member, employed in the shoe industry.
I've got the future of humanity to think about, not one or two cobblers.
One or two cobblers?
Yes.
No, cobblers are a dying breed. It's all done on machine now.
Ah, well, there you are. You see, I care even less about robots.
No.
Aren't hotels fantastic? Free call 0500 1053 89. My work from time to time takes me around the country. Obviously, I stay in fine hotels, characterised by a very large, wide bed. The rooms are quite big, the bathrooms are so-so, but the beds are very big. I only ever want a single because I'm travelling light. The wife and the boys are at home. I'm travelling light, but there's always 4 towels in the bathroom, 2 sets of everything everywhere, and that bed, as I say, it's wider than it is long. And it always makes me feel a little bit wimpish because I go to bed alone. in this enormous bed. I always feel as though I'm wasting an opportunity. I mean, I'm a red-blooded, normal, healthy male, aren't I? But I don't seem to be doing anything about it. What's the matter with me? Hotels are geared for romance. That's above the waterline. Below the waterline, we all know, don't we, that they are actually geared for lovers, for adulterers. Yes. And isn't that fantastic? Free call 0500 10 53 89. Because where else would they go? If I were ever to have an affair, I would hold that affair in a hotel. And you would too, wouldn't you, dear listener? And we don't begrudge people who rescue shaky marriages, where things have gone stale, where relations have soured a little bit. But those fine people recognise that it's important to keep the marriage together for whatever reasons, because it's a joint mortgage, or perhaps just as importantly because there are children or pets. And so it's essential that one or possibly both parties quietly, discreetly keep their own love lives alive by having a fling, by having an affair. And where else can you do that except in a hotel? If it wasn't for hotels, we'd all have to buy big estate cars. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I mean, where would hard-working mums and dads who manage to wangle a quiet weekend by getting the children away to his or her parents, well, where else would they go? You don't want to stay at home. Hotels are built for romance. They are fantastically romantic places. 97% of all adulterers visit hotels to consummate their happy relationship. Free call 0500 10 53 89. And you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it. No matter how happily married you are, no matter how long you've been happily married, you're thinking about it. And whenever you stay in a hotel, if you travel for a living and you stay in hotels, free call 0500 10 53 89. You may be on the road now, on your way somewhere else, from a night in a hotel to another night in a hotel. It gets you hankering, doesn't it? Free call 0500 10 53 89. That's why hotels ask no questions. Oh, they get you to fill in a form, but they don't check your details. They don't give you an up and down glance as you arrive, as Basil Fawlty used to do. Not anymore. They don't. They can't, because their business depends on it. And that is why hotel work is so fantastic. I spent a brief summer season running a hotel down in Brighton, Hotel Chiswicky, just off Brunswick Square, and I can honestly say it was the most interesting summer I have ever spent. The work was interesting, the work was worthwhile, because you're helping people do something valuable. The hours were flexible. It was great to be finishing at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you got loads of tips. I would recommend it to anybody, and I would be proud if either or both of my sons came to me and said, Dad, it's a career in hotels for us. And number again, free call 0500 10 53 89. Aren't hotels fantastic if you're romantic? I'm Tommy Boyds. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. Hello. The worst thing that some people who are having an affair should do is separate from their partners and get married.
Well, yes.
You're doomed.
Unfortunately, and then it gets boring, doesn't it? We're not married yet, but it's...
But it can never be as much fun as an affair.
No, that's right.
Marriage is never as much
perfect
fun
for
as
it.
an affair.
Perfect.
Yeah. Phil calls from Sussex. You're on Talk Radio, Phil. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I've just phoned up to say I think you were extremely rude to the gentleman who phoned just about 2:45 when he was talking about manners concerning shoes.
Well, he was a bit rude, really.
No, he wasn't. And then you made fun of him after he was off the air with another caller, and I think that was disgraceful.
Why?
Because I think you're extremely rude. Last week you were very, very rude to two ladies and yesterday. In fact, you were so rude last week, I tried to phone up. I've never spoken to you before, and in the end I had to phone up the complaints department.
Did you? What did they say?
To complain about you.
Did you? What did they say?
Pardon? They were very nice.
Oh, were they?
Yes, they were. Extremely nice, and I don't know how you've got your job, quite frankly.
Well,
I think you're very rude to people, unless people come
What age are you, Phil?
I don't think my age has got anything to do with you whatsoever.
You sound about 63.
I am not 63.
Well, why did you tell our receptionist you were?
I did not tell your receptionist, who was a very nice lady called Philippa. I never told her my age.
Right, okay, let's have this one out then. Shall we tell her who's telling Porky Pies?
Yes.
Put Philippa's microphone on then. Philippa, did you lie and tell me that this woman on the phone is 63? Did you lie? Was that a fib?
I meant to write 36.
Yeah. How old did she tell you she was?
She didn't.
Why not?
I didn't ask.
So she's not 63?
Phil?
I am not 63, and I never said I was.
Well, no, I know you didn't say you were. I didn't say that you said you were.
No, I know you didn't.
Well, you told me you were 63. Honestly,
I
you
put
women,
it on the screen.
you're hopeless. How can I possibly construct a national news and current affairs debate forum with all this kind of slipshod information?
Philomena, how old are you?
Yes, how old are you?
I don't really wish to give my age.
That's why I didn't ask, because I knew I was going to get that response. That's why I didn't ask.
For our demography, people are asked if they'll just say what age they are. What's to be ashamed of in your age?
Yes, you're doing the same to me as you do to other people who dare to criticise you.
I'm only seeking the truth.
Yes, you do. You put them down. Yes, you do.
What's wrong with being 63?
You were extremely rude to the Welsh people last week.
Well,
I
some of them
cringed
deserve
with
it.
embarrassment.
Good.
I cringe with embarrassment.
It's only the modern way, Phil. You've got to get used to it. It's 1998.
I have listened to this programme since it started, and I enjoy talk radio since it has started. I even listen to the trails, but I'm afraid... Yes, and what is wrong with that?
Quick, play a trail. Play the song of trail.
No, what is wrong with that?
Nothing wrong. What trail would you like to listen to?
The radio station were quite pleased we all listened to the trails. That's how you got your listeners.
Yeah, let's have a listen to a trail then, just for you, Phil.
No, you can't, because these trails were when you first started.
Oh.
That's why I listened.
Sorry.
Because I thought how good it was, but I'm afraid your programme is quite a disgrace, quite frankly.
Oh, well, you'll have to go back to BBC Radio Brighton then, won't you, or
No,
something?
I will not. There's no such thing. It's Southern Counties Radio now. You should do your homework.
Yeah. Well, I got rid of you there. I'm going to get rid of you from here as well, aren't I?
That's fine. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Slam it down. Slam it down. No. Free call 0500 10 53 89. We're discussing and celebrating a great global institution, but it's rarely given credit for the great contribution that it makes to the welfare and the happiness of the nation's romantic couples. Without hotels, people wouldn't be having flings, and a lot of marriages would end up on the rocks. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening. Do you like the baker boy? Ian calls. He's on the M1. You're on Talk Radio, Ian.
It's a myth, Tommy.
What is?
Hotels.
Which
They're
bit?
just full of sad sales reps. There's no underhand goings off with the opposite sex in there. I've been stopping in hotels for 15 years. I've never so much kissed anybody, let alone and a bit of the old how's your father under the sheets.
Well, but you've got to bring your own bottle, as it were.
Well, I wouldn't be able to get a job as a model, but I wouldn't scare the cat, and nobody's ever even so much smiled at me.
Perhaps some of your native charm has rubbed off on your steering wheel, or rather than on the opposite sex, Ian.
I suppose maybe a grain of truth in that, Tommy.
You know, if you're going to be a gentleman of the road, which is how you drivers should see yourselves, you've got to dress right. Are you in a good denim shirt?
In a hotel, been known, yeah. I've got a denim shirt.
Nice denim shirt, nice pair of jeans, good pair of boots. Not steel-tipped toe-cap things, but nice cowboy boots or something.
No, it doesn't happen, mate. It doesn't.
You've got to make yourself look romantic.
It's guys who, when they get back to the pubs where the mates go, oh, yeah, there were 3 waitresses and all this. It's a myth. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And by coming out with it, it gives all the guys like myself who are married, the wives always think you're up to no good all the time. There must be loads of blokes listening to this thinking...
Yes, seriously, we have to keep them on their toes.
Well, yeah,
it's the complacent partners, who start nibbling in between meals, wearing tracksuit trousers in bed instead of, proper nighty. And that's when the romance flies out of the window, isn't it?
Well, I'll take your word for that, Tommy, but it's a two-way street, I won't want to come home and find somebody else's shoes under the bed, so I won't do it down here, but no, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, it's a myth.
Ian, whenever we communicate, we always communicate at least 2 levels, right? There's the text of what we say, and then there's the subtext. Are you not aware that what you're actually saying in the course of this phone call is, will somebody please ring up and ask me for an affair?
Well, I must admit, after a couple of pints of lager, when I go back now, I turn the key in the door every night and I'm thinking, will Pamela Anderson be sat in there waiting for me, keeping the bed warm?
Well, we all
think that, she never, ever is.
No, we'll keep trying.
Oh,
that's what hotels are for.
That's what it's all about, mate.
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Enjoy the show.
Thank you. Here's Kelly calling from Nottinghamshire. You're on Talk Radio, Kelly.
Oh, hi, Tommy.
Hello, Kelly.
Hi. How are you?
I'm very well.
That's
Thanks for
good.
asking. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Right. I wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
Earlier you was on about you worked in a hotel in, is it Brighton? You
Yes,
said?
the Hotel Criswicki.
Right. While you was there,
Yes.
did you ever consider having an affair yourself?
Oh, on a hourly basis.
All right.
Yeah. Why?
Well, if I would have been there, I would have made myself very available.
Oh, I say.
Oh, I say.
How nice.
How nice.
Are you saying that it could have happened between us?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kelly, that's really kind of you to ring and say that. I'm very grateful. What do you look like
What do I look like?
at the moment?
I've got long brunette hair, 5'4".
Lovely.
Right.
And
what else do you want to know?
I don't know. What are you wearing today? Just
What
so
am I
we can get
wearing?
a picture of you.
Well, at the moment, I think I better not say. Daytime radio.
I think you definitely better.
Use your imagination.
I've already done that. I did that as soon as I heard your voice.
Well,
We do.
Leave it at there then.
Well, this is no good. Let me see if I can bring somebody else in who might be able to tell from what you're wearing.
Okay.
What you're wearing from what you sound like.
Right.
Let me bring Dave into the conversation. Are you there, Dave?
Yeah.
Hello. We've got Kelly here.
Hi, Kelly.
I don't
Hi.
know.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
She has got a very good voice, I must admit.
They're away, these two.
Everybody says
Dave,
that.
hands off.
Sorry, mate.
Tommy.
Yes?
Everybody says that. Sometimes I phone Ian Collins up in the sort of early hours of the morning.
Oh, dear.
The first thing he says to me, oh, you've got a nice voice.
Does he?
Mm.
Well, you have. It's got that kind of, that sort of squeaky, Jean Harlow-ish voice.
All right.
Yes. The key is silent. It doesn't matter. Yeah, she does sound all right, doesn't she, Dave?
She does indeed, yeah.
Yes.
What's she wearing then?
Yeah, well, I see her in, I think she's in a T-shirt. And that's it.
Just a T-shirt?
You could be right.
There.
Just a T-shirt.
Unfortunately, for some reason, I see one of those fairly naffo T-shirts with a pussycat on the front.
Garfield.
No, it's got a lollipop on it with
Worse.
a logo.
Oh, there, you see.
Do you want to know the logo?
Well, all right.
Wouldn't you just lick it?
Okay, right. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you for your sentiments.
Okay.
You made a happy man very old.
Right.
Bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dave. I just thought I'd get an extra Y chromosome.
Yeah, no, I was
into the
cruising away
speculation.
with
Sure.
that. How are you?
I'm still well, thanks.
Good. I've got a very amusing story from a friend of mine who works in the film industry.
Excellent.
And he went to the States to a hotel, a very smart 4-star place. Went upstairs, really nice hotel room. He said huge bed, as always, lots of cocktail cabinets, etc. There was just one pillow on the bed. So he thought, all right, I should phone reception.
Yeah.
Dialed 0, said, hello reception, could I have a spare pillow, please?
Yeah.
They said, no problem, sir, be right up.
Yes.
Put the phone down.
Yeah.
5 minutes time, there's a knock on the door.
Yeah.
A rather nice young lady is behind the door, and he says, yes. And she says, I'm the spare pillow.
Yes.
And he went, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I think he did behave himself.
Yeah.
But
it's code.
It's code. It was code for a nice young lady to keep warm.
I did know that. Yeah, it sort of happened to me.
Did it?
Slightly.
Where?
Slightly. This was, well, less exotic. This was a hotel in Birmingham.
Oh, right.
Yes. Because I got talking to this girl, you see. She came up to me. She was lovely. She came up to me and she just said, hello, are you with the band? And I said, no. And that didn't matter. So she just then straight away said, would you like company?
Right.
And I said, are we talk, like that?
Yeah.
So didn't like to say to her, are you a working girl?
No.
Because you don't, do you? Because you could get, you never know where you could end up. But it turned out she was, and we settled down. We had an hour just drinking beer. Then she went off and did her job with someone else. But point is, she told me an awful lot of the ins and outs of what they do. And that's slang at the porter's lodge.
Right. A spare pillow.
Please send me up. Yeah, or another pillow.
Another pillow.
Could I have another pillow, please, porter?
Everybody's going to try that on now, you realise. Wherever they go to a hotel next, they're going to ring reception and try that one.
Yeah.
Those that are inclined to, of course.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Sorry.
No, thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
That's okay, mate.
Nice to talk to you.
See you soon.
Thanks for your help. You go and get the children. Phil is our next caller from Essex. You're on Talk Radio. Phil.
How you doing?
Phil.
Hi.
Hi.
I want Kelly's number now, listen to that. Excellent.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. No, really,
Yes.
I'm complaining, really.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. The woman that rang up, who you got quite rude with a little while ago,
Yeah.
and the gentleman before her that she was complaining about, I felt the same way as that woman did, and then I ended up arguing with your woman on the phone this end.
Quite right, too.
And I said, you're all from the same school, don't get as bad as James Well. but I am an ardent listener. All I want to say was courtesy doesn't cost anything.
It costs listeners.
No,
It does.
No.
Yeah, I can't waste time. I'm not going to waste newsprint with words like please and thank you.
No, you don't have to, do
We've
you?
got a
You
huge
don't have
agenda to get out of the way. And may I remind you, Phil, they start it.
Absolutely.
I finish it.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree
Problem
with
with
you.
that?
I agree with
It's
you,
called
yeah.
natural justice.
Absolutely.
My dad
I did
taught me
want
to
to talk
stand
about
up for
no shoes,
myself.
because I don't wear no shoes, but she said we're off that subject.
Yes.
So we changed it, because I'm decorating at the moment, so...
How interesting.
Listening to your programme's great, as usual, but I just had to ring up and put my 2 pence in.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks very much.
Goodbye now.
Good luck to you.
And you. Free call 0500 10 53 89 on this show. Andrew calls now from London. You're on Talk Radio, Andrew.
Good afternoon, Tommy.
Good afternoon.
I'd just like to say, I think it was, her name was Phyllis, the lady who phoned up to give you a bit of a hard time.
She did, didn't she?
Was it Phyllis?
She tried.
Okay. What I'd like to say is that when they actually do phone up to complain to you and give you a hard time, it's a bit like the subject you had the other day of the sports, where we like you to get a bit of hassle from people.
Is that right?
It's a bit like seeing a good car crash.
Yeah.
You see? This is the blood sport in Talk Radio, you see. We like it when they...
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.